Melody woke up to strange sounds she had never heard before. She opened her eyes and found herself in a room with walls that glowed soft blue. The bed she lay on was not her own. It seemed to float without any legs or support. She tried to remember how she got here. The last thing she recalled was walking home from her night shift at the diner. A bright light had appeared above her, and then nothing. Melody sat up and looked down at herself. She was wearing a silver outfit that felt like silk, but seemed to change color when she moved. Her normal clothes were nowhere to be seen. The door to the room had no handle. It slid open as she approached, revealing a corridor with the same glowing blue walls. Melody hesitated, but curiosity pushed her forward. The corridor led to a large round room with windows that showed nothing but stars. No earth, no moon, just endless space. Her heart began to race as she realized the truth. She was on a spaceship. A voice spoke behind her, making her jump. Melody turned to see a tall woman with violet skin and eyes that glowed like amber. The woman had long silver hair that seemed to float around her head as if underwater. "You are awake," said the alien woman. Her voice sounded like music. "I am Lyra." Melody backed away until she hit the window. "Where am I? Why am I here?" Lyra moved closer, her movements graceful like a dancer. "You are on my ship. We have chosen you, chosen me for what?" Melody asked, trying to keep her voice steady to help us understand humans, said Lyra. "We need someone to teach us your ways. We come in peace." Melody looked out at the stars again, trying to process what was happening to her. She was a waitress from a small town, nothing special. Why would aliens choose her? Why me? She asked. Lyra tilted her head. "We watched many humans. You showed kindness to all, even those who were unkind to you. That is rare and valuable." Before Melody could respond, another alien woman entered the room. This one had blue skin with patterns that seemed to shift and change. Her eyes were pure white with no pupils. "This is Vela," said Lyra. "She is our scientist." Vela approached Melody, studying her with those strange white eyes. "Do not fear us, human. We will return you to your world when we have learned enough." Melody felt a mix of fear and fascination. These beings could have hurt her, but instead they seemed almost gentle, despite their alien appearance. "How long will I be here?" she asked. "One cycle of your moon," said Vela. 28 of your days a month." Melody thought that was both too long and not long enough. She had so many questions, so much she wanted to know about these beings and their world. "Will I be able to see more than just this room?" asked Melody. Lyra nodded. "You may explore our ship. It is your home for now. Come, I will show you." Melody followed the alien women through corridors that seemed to change and shift as they walked. Doors opened without being touched. Lights brightened and dimmed as they passed. They entered what appeared to be the control room of the ship. Other alien women worked at stations with screens that floated in the air. They all looked up as Melody entered their eyes. Curious. "This is our bridge," said Lyra. "From here we navigate the stars." Melody looked at the technology around her. It was like nothing she had ever seen. No buttons, no keyboards, just light and movement. One of the aliens approached her. This one had skin that shimmered with gold flecks. Her eyes were deep purple. She was shorter than the others, but still taller than Melody. "I am Orion," said the alien. "Our pilot. I will teach you about our stars." For the first time since waking up, Melody felt excitement push past her fear. The chance to learn about alien stars from beings who had actually visited them. It was beyond anything she could have imagined. Lyra placed a hand on Melody's shoulder. The touch was warm and surprisingly human. "We have prepared a meal for you. Food from your world. We have studied what humans eat." They led her to another room where a table held fruits, vegetables, and what looked like bread. It was a relief to see familiar food. As Melody ate, Lyra explained more. "We are the Astra. We have watched Earth for many years, learning your languages, your customs. We wish to make contact, officially, but first we must understand. Why not just talk to our leaders? Asked Melody. Vela made a sound that might have been a laugh. Leaders often hide truth. We want to know the real humans, those who live ordinary lives. Melody thought about her own ordinary life. It had been simple, predictable, maybe even boring. Now she was having dinner with aliens on a spaceship orbiting Earth. When Melody finished eating, Lyra showed her to a new room. It had a bed similar to the one she woke up in, but also shelves with books from Earth, pictures of Earth landscapes, and even a small plant. "This is your space while you are with us," said Lyra. "Rest. Now tomorrow we begin learning left alone." Melody lay on the floating bed and stared out a small window, at the stars beyond. She should be terrified. She should be planning an escape. Instead, she felt a strange sense of purpose, for whatever reason these beings had chosen her. And she decided in that moment that she would learn as much from them as they hoped to learn from her. This was the beginning of something extraordinary. The next day, Melody woke to find Vela waiting for her. The blue-skinned alien held out what looked like a small silver marble. "This will help you understand us better," said Vela. "It translates our language." Melody took the marble. It felt warm in her palm. "What do I do with it?" "Place it behind your ear," said Vela. "It will bond temporarily." Melody hesitated, then did as instructed. The marble seemed to melt against her skin. She felt a tingling sensation. Then nothing. "Can you understand me better now?" asked Vela, but her lips moved differently than the words Melody heard. "It's working," said Melody, amazed. The technology was beyond anything humans had created. "Good," said Vela. "Today I will show you our knowledge center." Melody followed Vela through the ship. Other Astra nodded to them as they passed. Each alien woman was unique in her coloring and features, but all had the same tall, slender build and graceful movements. The knowledge center was a vast room with floating screens, and what appeared to be books, though they seemed made of light rather than paper. "Here we store all we know of the universe," said Vela, "including what we have learned of Earth." Melody approached one of the screens. It showed images of human cities, human art, human technology. She reached out and the images changed at her touch, showing different aspects of Earth culture. Vela moved to stand beside her. "We have watched your kind evolve for thousands of years." "Thousands of years." Melody was stunned. "Why have you never made contact before? We wait until species reach a certain point," said Vela. "Your people are almost ready but still fight among yourselves too often." Melody could not argue with that assessment. Humans did seem to constantly be in conflict. Orion entered the room carrying what looked like a star chart. The gold-flecked alien nodded to Melody. "I will teach you about our home system today," said Orion. The chart expanded in the air, becoming a three-dimensional map of stars and planets. Orion pointed to a star, much larger than Earth's sun. "This is our home star, Australis," she said. "And this is our world." A planet appeared larger than the others. It was ringed like Saturn but had swirling colors of purple and blue. "We come from the third moon," said Orion, pointing to a large moon orbiting the planet. "It is there our species evolved." Melody stared at the map, trying to memorize everything. They were showing her knowledge no other human had ever seen. "How far is your home from Earth?" she asked. Orion made a gesture, and the map zoomed out, showing both solar systems, 200 light-years in your measurement. Melody felt dizzy at the thought that was an incredible distance. "How did you travel so far?" Vela pointed to another screen where a diagram appeared. It showed the Astra ship bending space around itself. "We do not travel through space," said Vela. "We fold it." Throughout the day, Melody learned about Astra technology, their history, their biology. She discovered they were an all-female species that reproduced through a process similar to cloning, but with genetic variations to ensure diversity. By evening, Melody's head was swimming with new information. She sat with Lyra in what seemed to be a garden room. Plants from various worlds grew in floating containers. Water flowed upward instead of down, forming impossible fountains. Lyra handed Melody a cup of glowing blue liquid. It will help your mind process what you have learned. Today, Melody sipped the liquid. It tasted like honey and mint. A pleasant warmth spread through her body. You have many questions, said Lyra. I see them in your eyes, Melody nodded. Why tell me all this? Why show me your technology, your knowledge? Lyra was silent for a moment. We believe in knowledge freely shared, she said. Finally, secrets lead to fear. Fear leads to conflict. We have seen it on many worlds. But what if I tell others about you when I return to Earth? Melody asked. Would that not cause fear? Perhaps, said Lyra. But perhaps it will cause wonder instead. We hope for the latter. That night Melody lay awake thinking about everything she had learned. The Astra were so advanced yet seemed peaceful. Their society had no war, no poverty, no disease. They shared everything equally. But something bothered her. They had said they watched Earth for thousands of years. That meant they had witnessed humanity's darkest moments, wars, genocides, environmental destruction, and still they wanted to make contact. The next morning, Melody found Orion waiting for her. Today we show you how we travel. Among stars, said the pilot. Orion led Melody to the bridge and motioned for her to sit in a floating chair before a large window. We will make a small jump, said Orion. Just to the edge of your solar system and back. The other Astra worked at their stations, their hands moving through floating symbols and lights. The ship hummed with energy. Prepare for fold, said Orion. The stars outside the window seemed to stretch, then bend. Space itself, twisted in ways Melody's mind could barely comprehend. Then suddenly, they were looking at a different view. Neptune, the blue giant planet, filled the window. We are at the edge of your solar system, said Orion. It would take your fastest ships years to reach this point. We did it in moments. Melody stared in awe at the distant planet. This technology alone would revolutionize human space travel if shared. Returning now, said Orion again. Space folded and they were back in Earth orbit. The blue planet visible through the window. Melody turned to Orion. Why show me this? Orion tilted her head. To help you understand who we are. What we can offer your people. That evening, Melody sat with Lyra again, this time in a room with walls that seemed made of flowing water. You have been with us 3 days now, said Lyra. What do you think of us? Melody considered carefully. Your technology is amazing, your knowledge vast, but I still don't understand why you chose me. Lyra leaned forward. We chose you because you dream, Melody. We have watched you look at the stars. We have seen you wonder. We need someone who can imagine possibilities. Melody felt a strange pride at those words. She had always been a dreamer, often to her disadvantage in life. But now it seemed that quality had value. Tomorrow, said Lyra, we will show you something. Few have seen the heart of our ship. The next morning, Melody found all 3 alien women waiting for her. Lyra, Vela, and Orion stood together, their expressions solemn. Today is important, said Lyra. What we show you, no human has seen. They led Melody deeper into the ship through corridors that spiraled downward. The walls here were different, darker with swirling patterns that seemed to move like smoke. We approached the heart, said Vela, her voice quieter than usual. They stopped before a large circular door unlike any Melody had seen. On the ship so far, it was made of what looked like solid crystal. With symbols etched into its surface, Lyra placed her palm against the door. The symbols glowed in response, and the massive door slid open, revealing a chamber bathed in purple light. In the center of the room floated a crystal similar to the door but smaller, about the size of a basketball. It pulsed with light, creating ripples in the air around it. This is our ship's heart, said Lyra. Also the heart of our civilization. Melody stared at the crystal, mesmerized by its pulsing light. What is it? Vela stepped forward. We call it the Star Heart. It is alive in ways your science cannot yet understand. It generates energy, powers. Our ships allows us to fold space. Melody wanted to touch it but held back. Something told her the crystal was dangerous as well as beautiful. The Star Heart is what makes our civilization possible, said Orion. Without it, we would be bound to our home world. As you are bound to Earth, Lyra moved closer to Melody. There is more to show you. The reason we brought you here. She gestured to a smaller crystal set in a pedestal near the wall. This one did not pulse or glow. It looked dormant. This is a seed, said Lyra. A child of the star. Heart Melody looked between the glowing crystal and the dormant one. A seed we wish to give this to Earth, said Vela. To your people. Melody felt her breath catch. This technology, this power, and they wanted to just give it away. Why? Because it is time, said Lyra, as if reading her thoughts. Your people stand at a crossroads. Soon you must leave your world or perish on it. Resources dwindle, your population grows. Your climate changes. We offer a path, said Orion. Away to the stars. Melody approached the dormant crystal, studying it. Without this technology, humans would take centuries to develop the means to leave Earth in significant numbers, if they survived that long. But with it, we could fold space, travel to distant worlds, solve our energy crisis. Exactly, said Vela. But Melody stepped back. Why would you give us this? What do you want in return? The three alien women exchanged glances. Lyra spoke. We want family, family. Melody was confused. We are the last, said Lyra. Our homeworld is gone, destroyed by a dying star. We are the last of the Astra, few in number. We travel seeking others to share with, to teach, to join with. Melody understood then. They were not just making contact. They were looking for adoption. Their species was dying, and they hoped to create bonds with other species to survive. How many of you are there? She asked. Less than 1,000, said Vela, spread across 20 ships. All that remains of billions. Melody felt sadness for these beings. Despite their advanced technology, they faced extinction, unless they could form bonds with other species, share their knowledge and culture. If we accept this gift, said Melody, what happens? Lyra smiled, a gesture she must have learned from watching humans. We teach your scientists to awaken the seed, to grow it. We help. You build your first ships together. We explore. The implications were enormous. Humanity would leap forward thousands of years in technology, but they would be dependent on the Astra for knowledge, how to use it, how to control it. It could save us, said Melody. Or it could destroy us if misused. Vela nodded, her expression serious. This is why we chose you. You see both possibility and danger. You must help your people understand. They left the heart chamber, returning to the upper levels of the ship. Melody remained quiet, processing everything she had learned. That evening, she sat alone in her room, watching Earth through her window. The beautiful blue planet seemed both home and suddenly strange. She had seen beyond it now, glimpsed a future among the stars. Lyra came to her room carrying a small device that looked like a tablet. It showed images of Earth, cities, forests, oceans. Your world is beautiful, said Lyra. So full of life, so diverse, we had forgotten such beauty. Our world was old when it died, controlled, orderly. Beautiful in its way, but lacking the wild nature of Earth. Melody looked at the images, scenes of her home planet from space. She had never thought much about Earth as a whole before. It was just where she lived. Now she saw it as the Astra did, a precious blue jewel in the darkness. If we accept your gift, said Melody, will we change, become like you? Lyra considered this. All species change when they reach the stars. But no, you will remain human. Your path will be your own. We offer the means, not the direction. Melody nodded. That seemed fair. The Astra offered technology, but not control. Humans would determine their own future among the stars. But who decides? Melody asked. The gift is too important for any one government or corporation. That is why we have not yet made official contact, said Lyra. We watch, we wait for the right moment. When your world can receive our gift as one people. The idea seemed impossible to Melody. Humans had never been united on anything. Could they unite on something this important? Perhaps, said Melody, seeing things from a new perspective. The gift itself is what will unite us. The stars. The endless frontier. Lyra smiled again. That is our hope. The next day, Vela took Melody to what appeared to be a medical bay. Several Astra worked with equipment Melody did not recognize. We wish to share more than technology, said Vela. Our medical knowledge as well. Melody watched as Vela demonstrated their healing technology. A small cut on Melody's finger healed instantly when touched by a light. Vela controlled. We do not age as you do, said Vela. Our bodies renew themselves with our help. Yours could too. Immortality, Melody thought. Or something close to it. Another gift, with profound implications. Do all the Astra agree with this plan? Asked Melody. Do all want to share so much with humans? Vela hesitated for the first time since Melody had met her. Most agree, she said finally, but some fear. What? Melody asked. That you are too young, too violent. Some believe we should wait longer. Watch longer. Melody could not blame the cautious ones. Humans were violent. Their history was filled with war and conquest. Those who fear are right to be cautious, said Melody. We have much growing to do. Vela touched Melody's shoulder. All species must grow. All must learn from mistakes we did. A week passed. Melody learned more about the Astra each day. She began to understand their language even without the translator. She learned about their history, their art, their beliefs. The Astra believed all life was connected through what they called the cosmic web. Similar to spirituality on Earth, but with a scientific basis, they had measured energy patterns that connected living beings across vast distances. One morning, Orion came to Melody with excitement. Today we take you somewhere special, she said. They went to a small shuttle bay where a craft waited. It was smaller than Melody expected, sleek and silver, like the main ship. We go to your moon, said Orion. No human has seen it, as we will show you. Melody felt a thrill of excitement. The moon. She had looked up at it all her life, and now she would walk on its surface. The shuttle journey took only minutes. Orion piloting with graceful movements of her hands. They landed in a crater on the far side of the moon, the side never visible. From Earth, Melody put on a suit the Astra provided. It was lighter than any spacesuit she had seen in pictures. Moving in it felt natural, as if she wore normal clothes. They stepped out onto the lunar surface. Melody gasped at the view. Earth was not visible from this side. Instead, she saw only stars. More stars than she had ever imagined possible from Earth. The blackness of space was filled with countless points of light. The universe is more vast than humans can yet comprehend, said Orion, standing. Beside her, Melody took careful steps, getting used to the moon's gravity. She looked at the footprints she left in the dust. The Astra led her to what appeared to be a small structure half buried in the lunar soil. What is this? Asked Melody. An outpost, said Orion. We have watched from here for centuries. Inside the outpost were screens showing Earth from various angles. Instruments Melody did not recognize. Recorded data. Vela was waiting for them. We have monitored your planet's development from here, she explained. We have stations like this throughout your solar system. Melody realized the Astra had been in the solar system far longer than she had imagined. They had watched humanity's entire modern history. After exploring the outpost, they returned. To the surface, Orion pointed to a distant mountain catching the sun's light. There, said Orion, is where we will help humans build their first moon base if they accept our gift. Melody imagined it. A human settlement on the moon. Then Mars. Then beyond. The solar system entirely. The possibilities seemed endless. They returned to the main ship. Melody quiet with her thoughts. She had seen and learned so much in just 1 week. The Astra had shared knowledge that would take humans centuries to discover on their own. That evening, Lyra came to Melody's room. She seemed troubled. Some of us have received concerning news, said Lyra. Your governments have detected our presence. Several military forces are on alert. Melody felt a chill. This was what she had, feared humans reacting with suspicion and fear to the unknown. We should make contact officially, said Melody. Before misunderstandings lead to something worse. Lyra nodded. We have decided the same. We will appear to your world leaders in 3 days. Time 3 days. Melody thought that was not much time to prepare humanity for such a revelation. I wish to ask something important, said Lyra. Will you speak for us? Be our voice to your people. You understand us now better than any human. Melody was stunned. They wanted her, a waitress from a small town, to represent an advanced alien civilization to humanity. Why not speak for yourselves, she asked. Lyra sat beside Melody. We will, but your people will fear us. We look different. We are unknown, but they will see one of their own. One who has lived among us and returned unharmed. It made sense, but the responsibility terrified Melody. She would help shape humanity's first impression of the Astra influence, the most important first contact in human history. I will do it, she said finally. I will help. However I can. Lyra touched Melody's hand, her violet fingers warm against human skin. Thank you. We have chosen well. The next day, preparations began. The Astra showed Melody recordings they had, made of Earth broadcasts, news programs, entertainment, political speeches. They wanted to understand how best to present themselves. Vela worked with Melody on what to say, how to explain the Astra and their gifts in terms humans would understand, without causing panic. Your people fear difference, said Vela. We must show them we come in peace with gifts, not demands. Orion taught Melody about the technology they would demonstrate to prove their advanced nature and peaceful intentions. Energy generation, said Orion. Show them we can end their dependence on fossil fuels that will speak louder than words. Melody worked hard to prepare. Questions would be endless. Doubts would be many. She had to be ready. On the second day, Lyra brought Melody to a room she had not seen before. It contained what appeared to be a garden, but the plants were like nothing on Earth. Some glowed, some moved as if alive in ways plants should not move. These are from our homeworld, said Lyra. The last samples of life from our planet. Melody understood this was something precious, something the Astra held dear. A piece of their lost world. We wish to see these grow on Earth someday, said Lyra. Not to replace your plants, but to live alongside them as we hope to live alongside humans. The sentiment touched Melody deeply. They were not just offering technology, but a true exchange of life and culture. That night, Melody could not sleep. Tomorrow she would return to Earth, not to her small apartment and waitress job, but to stand before world leaders as an ambassador for an alien race. Lyra came to her room, sensing her restlessness. Are you afraid? Asked the alien woman. Yes, said Melody. This is bigger than me. What if I fail? What if my words cause fear instead of hope? Lyra sat beside her on the floating bed. Speak from your heart. That is all we ask. Tell them what you have seen, what you have learned. Let them see the stars through your eyes. In the morning, Melody, dressed in clothes the Astra had made for her, a simple white outfit with subtle patterns that shifted like the stars. She would look human, but with just enough difference to show she had been changed by her experience. The main ship moved into position, visible from Earth now, not hiding. No more secrets. No, more watching from shadows. The time had come for revelation. A smaller vessel prepared to take Melody and a delegation of Astra to the surface, specifically to the United Nations headquarters in New York, where representatives of Earth nations had gathered hurriedly after the Astra ship revealed itself. Melody stood with Lyra, Vela, and Orion at the shuttle bay, her heart pounding with nervous energy. It is time, said Lyra as they boarded the shuttle. Melody looked back at the ship that had been her home for the past days. She had arrived as a captive but was leaving as a messenger. Between two worlds. Between two futures. Humanity stands at the threshold, said Vela. You will help them take the first step. The shuttle doors closed. The journey to a new era for humanity began. The shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere. Melody watched through the window as clouds parted, revealing the sprawling city below. New York looked tiny from above, so fragile compared to the vastness of space. She had witnessed military aircraft, surrounded them, keeping distance but clearly monitoring their approach. Melody could see the tension in Orion's posture as she piloted the craft. "They are afraid," said Melody. "They think you might attack. We expected this," said Lyra. "We come in peace, but trust must be earned." The shuttle landed on a cleared area near the United Nations building. Security forces formed a perimeter around them. News helicopters circled overhead, broadcasting the historic moment to the world. Melody took a deep breath. This was it. The door opened. Sunlight streamed in. Earth sunlight. She had missed its particular warmth. She stepped out first as planned, a human face for the alien arrival. She heard gasps from the gathered officials and press. The Astra followed her, taller, more obviously alien in appearance. A delegation approached, led by a woman Melody recognized as the UN Secretary General. Behind her stood representatives from major world powers. Their faces showed a mix of fear, wonder, and suspicion. "Welcome, back to Earth," Ms. Harris said, the Secretary General. "We have many questions." Melody nodded. "I understand. I am here to help answer them, and to introduce you to friends." The Astra stepped forward, Lyra at their center. She bowed slightly, a human gesture. They had learned, "I am Lyra of the Astra," she said. "We come in peace with gifts of knowledge and technology." The formal introductions continued as they moved inside the building to a large conference room already prepared. Security was heavy guards, watched the aliens with wary eyes, hands near weapons. Once seated, the questions began, rapid and often overlapping. Where did they come from? What did they want? Why had they taken Melody? What were their capabilities? Their intentions? Melody helped translate, not just language but meaning and context. She explained her experience on the ship, what she had learned about the Astra. "They could have conquered us long ago if that was their intention," said Melody. "Instead, they watched. They waited for us to mature, as a species." The military representative seemed skeptical. "How do we know this isn't the beginning of an invasion?" asked one general. Lyra stood and placed a small device on the table. It projected an image of the star heart, the crystal Melody had. "Seen at the center of the ship, we offer this," she said. "Knowledge that will take your species to the stars. Energy that will end your dependence on fossil fuels. Medicine that will cure your diseases." The room fell silent at these claims. Vela stepped forward with data drives. "These contain the first phase of knowledge we wish to share," she said. "Renewable energy technology, medical advances, agricultural improvements, all freely given." One of the scientists present spoke up. "Why would you give us such valuable knowledge?" "What do you want in return?" Orion answered. "We seek connection. We are few, the last of our kind. We offer knowledge in exchange for a new home among the stars, not to replace humans, but to join with you." A merger of cultures and knowledge. The discussions continued for hours, sometimes heated, sometimes filled with wonder. The Astra answered each question patiently, honestly. Melody watched as initial fear began to shift. Some officials remained suspicious, but others showed growing excitement at the possibilities. During a brief recess, Melody stood at a window looking out at the city. It seemed strange now. After seeing the stars up close, Earth felt both precious and small. A voice spoke behind her. The Secretary General had approached. "They trust you," said the woman. "They listen to you. You have become important." Ms. Harris. Melody shook her head. "I am just a waitress from Ohio. I was in the right place at the wrong time." The Secretary General smiled. "Sometimes that is all it takes to change history." "Tell me honestly, do you believe they come in peace?" Melody thought of all she had seen, learned, experienced aboard the Astra ship. "They could destroy us or control us if they wanted to," she said. "Instead, they offer gifts. They are alone. The last of their kind. They seek connection, not conquest." The afternoon session focused on the Starheart seed. The scientists were fascinated by the possibilities it represented, but concerned about safety. How do we know this technology won't harm our planet? asked one Vela explained patiently. We have used it for thousands of years across many star systems. It draws energy from space itself, not from matter. It cannot be weaponized in the way you fear. Plans were made for a small team of human scientists to visit the Astra ship to examine the technology under controlled conditions. The seed would remain in Astra possession until humans were ready. As the day ended, agreements were reached. Initial cultural and scientific exchanges would begin. Limited technology transfer would start with medical and environmental applications. The more advanced gifts would come later when trust was established. That night, Melody stayed in a hotel room provided by the UN security outside her door. The Astra returned to their ship with promises to continue talks the next day. Melody lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the weight of her role heavy on her mind. She had become the bridge between two species, the voice of humanity to the stars. The next morning brought more meetings, more questions. A plan began to take shape. A joint human-Astra research facility would be established first on Earth, then on the Moon. Carefully selected scientists and diplomats would work together. Lyra took Melody aside during a break. You have done well, she said. Your words have helped calm fears. Melody smiled, tired but proud. I just told the truth. What I saw. What I felt. That is why we chose you, said Lyra. You see with clear eyes and speak from an open heart. Over the following days, a framework for cooperation emerged. The world remained divided on how to proceed. Some nations embraced the Astra with enthusiasm. Others held back, cautious, suspicious. But none rejected the contact outright. Melody found herself becoming a public figure, her face on screens worldwide. The human who lived among aliens. The waitress who became an ambassador. She gave interviews, told her story again and again. 1 month after first contact, Melody stood with Lyra on the observation deck of the Astra ship looking down at Earth. Small lights glowed where the first joint research facility had been established. It is just the beginning, said Lyra. A first step on a long journey. Melody nodded. In the month since contact, the Astra had already shared medical knowledge that led to treatments for several previously incurable diseases. Their energy technology was being studied by scientists worldwide. The Starheart seed remained aboard their ship, but plans for its eventual transfer were in development. Do you regret choosing me? Asked Melody. Never, said Lyra. You have exceeded our hopes. Melody thought about her old life. It seemed distant now, unreal. She had been offered a permanent position as human liaison to the Astra, a bridge between worlds. I never imagined this would be my life, she said, looking up at the stars. They had always seemed so distant. Now she had touched them. The universe is full of wonders, said Lyra. Together our peoples will explore them. That night, as Melody prepared to return to Earth for more meetings, she paused at the window of her room aboard the ship. Earth glowed blue and green against the blackness of space. Her home, yet she felt equally at home here among the stars, among the Astra. She had become something new, neither fully of Earth nor of the stars, but of both. A bridge between worlds, a symbol of what humanity could become. The Astra had chosen well. She would help guide humanity to the stars, and together they would find wonders beyond imagination. The journey had just begun.